I've always been proud to tell people that I'm a teacher. It's supposed to be considered a noble profession. I'm also proud to tell people that I work here in Pottstown. Lately, however, my pride has been replaced with frustration. I love what I do. It's hard to believe that I've worked here for 10 years. I did my student teaching in 2004 at Lincoln. I subbed across the district for a year. I taught after-school tutoring and summer school for a few years. I've spent the majority of my career teaching first and second grade at Rupert. I have a master's degree in reading and my reading specialist certification, which I used last year when I filled in for our building reading specialist when she was on maternity leave. There's much more to teaching than lesson plans and test grading. I maintain my CPI certification. I attend the summer Healthy Body, Healthy Mind seminar. I wrote the math curriculum. I piloted the science series and helped choose a math series. I'm on Rupert's impact team, ABL committee, emergency response team, and I organize the building-wide student of the month. I'm the building's technology rep. I've been part of numerous family nights and I held several donation drives for the SPCA. I also collect items for care packages for the soldiers and I arranged to meet the soldiers we rode to. I organized Alex's lemonade stands. I'm on the district STEAM team and I will be part of the first STEAM night tomorrow. This month I'm leading a running club for 3rd and 4th graders at Rupert. I buy my students school supplies, snacks, and socks. My job is very fulfilling, however, it's not without its downfalls. I've had multiple workers' comp claims because of students. I've been bitten by a student multiple times just this year. Another student kicks me. Last year I was hit with the chair on a few occasions. I've had students trash my classroom, attack me, and attack other students. And although I may go home and cry, I show up the next day with a smile on my face and my arms ready to hug because that is what these children need. 3 years ago I got a summer job at Home Depot. I made sure that they understood that it was just for the summer. I have a full-time job, but that changed. I'm still working at Home Depot after 3 years. I've actually received more raises there in 3 years than I have in 10 years that I've been in Pottstown. I cannot survive on my teaching income alone without the supplemental income I receive from Home Depot. I have 10 years of teaching experience in my master's degree, but the districts around us have starting salaries much higher than I'm making now. It's frustrating to have our health insurance cost more, but our pay seems to stay the same. I'm not married, so I only have my income to rely on. Once I pay rent and bills, I struggle to make ends meet. Not only do we not get raises, but our salary scale is painfully out of date. I love my job and I love the people I work with and I understand my students. It takes a special kind of teacher to understand these students, and I get that. I think I'm one of those special teachers. I'm good at my job, but for the first time in 10 years, I've updated my resume and I've started applying to other districts. I cannot continue to work 2 jobs to make ends meet. I'm tired. I'm wasting energy at Home Depot that I could be using in school, but I cannot survive on my teaching salary alone. So if I must, I will consider leaving my family at Rupert, not because I want to, but because I have to. These students may lose an experienced teacher that understands and cares for them, because I can't afford to be their teacher anymore.
Thank you, Mrs. Wagner. Mrs. Fresco?
Good evening. I'm actually going to read several letters that were written for another teacher who is a little fearful of coming up here. I am not. This letter is dated April 22nd, 2016. Dear Mrs. Stout, you have made a difference in my life because you have made me a smarter kid by being a great teacher. I really enjoy your class because you say funny stuff all the time. You are a great teacher. You work really hard to make sure everyone understands the lessons. I also appreciate the fact that you work so hard outside of school to better our school and our education with all the scholarship work you do to get for us. And that's written by Troy Burrier, who's a student. Another letter. Dear Mrs. Stout, I wanted to take the time to tell you how much I appreciate what you do, not only for my son, but for the community. You go above and beyond as a teacher to promote so many positive traits, to instill in our children. When sitting with you and talking with you about my son Anthony, I can tell that you truly care about your children in class. You wish him good luck in his sports, and encourage him to hold my hand because, as you said, mothers love it, and we absolutely do. That's not just math and science, that's going above and beyond as an influential person in the lives of so many young minds. To hear that you haven't had a raise in so many years blew my mind. I would love to let the world know how important your job is for our youth. We need more teachers like you who care so much about our children. These kids are our future. Our future starts now. Without the pay incentive, I can imagine how many other teachers and future teachers would be discouraged from teaching in our schools. Not everyone has the heart that you do, Mrs. Stout, and I thank you for that. Sincerely, Tiffany Buckman. She's a third grade parent. Thanks, Dad. Dear Mrs. Stout, I wanted to let you know how much you mean to me as a teacher. Thanks for making learning fun. The closest I've gotten to honor roll was in your class. Thanks for coming all the way to Franklin to teach all these kids, including me, from Anthony in third grade. Thank you.
Mrs. Weinhardt.
I am also going to be reading a letter from a parent that could not be here tonight. It says, good evening. As a parent of a current Pottstown Middle School student, as well as a 2015 Pottstown High School graduate, I wanted to take a moment to express what our teachers in the Pottstown School District mean to our children as well as parents. Working in one of the poorest districts in the country is a challenge in itself. It has recently been brought to my attention that many of our teachers have worked in our school district without a pay raise for nearly a decade. To me, this seems very unfair and quite frankly absurd. We here at Pottstown have some of the best teachers around. Teachers who not only have a passion to give our children the education they are so deserving of, but it is also the same teachers who encourage and help our youth grow into positive role models and future leaders of our country. On a daily basis, our teachers go above and beyond their teaching duties. We as a society believe that our teachers have the ideal jobs. Done work at 3:30 in the afternoon and summers off. Sounds fantastic, right? But what about all of our teachers who get to school early every morning to help the struggling child, or the teachers that stay late after school because one of their students has had a really hard week at home and just needs an ear to listen? Many times our teachers and coaches are spending more time with our children than they are their own. You can find many of our teachers coaching our youth on the sports fields, teaching them to work hard and believe in themselves. My daughter had an amazing opportunity to travel to Greece her junior year of high school, and to do so took a lot of work and dedication from our teachers. Teachers who not only left their families behind to travel with ours, but spent countless hours of their own time sitting at meetings and fundraisers so our children could afford the opportunity to travel. It is because of these teachers that my daughter now goes to college and majors in international marketing and business. When asked recently what she would like to be, her answer was simply a respected, successful, cultural businesswoman who is able to give back and begin to unite all communities through understanding and wisdom. This wasn't a lesson taught from her in a book. There was no test for this, and I did not teach her this at home. This is the impact of our teachers being determined to push our kids to the highest of standards and wanting them to be successful in life. Over the past several years, we have found the cost of living to rise significantly. I could not imagine going to work every day and giving all I got only to come home year after year without a pay raise. It would be very discouraging. We need to keep our teachers in our district. We do not want them to have to look in other opportunities in other districts in order to bring home the paycheck they are deserving of. We want to attract new teachers who will want to stay and grow with our district, rather than get some experience and move on to other districts because, well, they pay more. We have teachers in our district who, after instilling in our kids the importance of education and moving on to college, are unable to afford to send their own children to college. This is not okay. We need to take a stand for our teachers right now and fight for what they deserve. I also have a letter that I wrote on behalf of my son. Over the last few years, my family has been blessed to have the time to build a relationship with a very outstanding teacher by the name of Ellen Isley. Over the course of the years, I have had the wonderful opportunity to work with my children's teacher on many different occasions. I know that no matter what the situation was, Mrs. Isley always made sure that the outcome was for what was best for the student. She has been with the school district for many years and was even nominated for an Outstanding Teacher of the Year on the Michael and Kelly Show 2 years ago. Mrs. Isley is not like any other teacher. She is a very sweet, talented teacher that for over the course of her years of teaching has made an impact on every single child that has gone in and out of her classroom. She is always looking for ways not only to better herself as a teacher, but ways to improve for all of her students. She is always ready to lend an extra hand if help is needed from her, and she will offer her own time to stay after school to help with any and all situations for her students and their families. I know that my family is very grateful for these wonderful things that Mrs. Isley has done for us over the last couple of years, especially with my son. We had some major changes happen in our home that affected my son more than I thought. Upon beginning school, I had spoken to Mrs. Isley and told her what happened over the last year. She immediately assured me that everything was going to be all right, and if we needed extra help to see that my son would succeed on a daily basis, she would be there. It was really a tough patch that we went through for the first part of the school year. Every day she would be in contact with me, assuring me that everything was going to be all right. And she had my son's best interest in heart, and she did not even for a split second want me to think that she was not only giving up on my son, but my family. I am proud to say that with her efforts, my son has made huge strides and has become a totally different child. He now enjoys coming to school every day, his grades are up from where they were, and he learned that there are consequences for his actions. And every now and again, we will hit that bump in the road, but Mrs. Isley is still standing there with her hands out, ready to help get him back on track. I and my family will forever be grateful to have been blessed to have the opportunity to meet such an extraordinary first grade teacher such as Mrs. Isley. The world definitely needs more teachers like herself because, in fact, how many people get to say that their first grade teacher was on national television nominated for an honorable teaching award? Not many. However, my family will never forget the first grade teacher that has given us so many wonderful memories. The help she is willing to give so that every child is successful in her classroom is something that is not found in just any teacher. It is found in only the best teachers, and we have one of them right here in the Pottstown School District. So thank you, Mrs. Isley, for all of your years that you have given to my family, and we will forever be grateful to have such an amazing teacher and wonderful woman affect our lives in such a positive manner.
I wanted to take a minute as a parent to share my experiences within the school district. I currently have 4 children enrolled in Pottstown. I have 2 children in the middle school and 2 currently in Lincoln. My children have been in Edgewood, Franklin, Lincoln, and now the middle school within our 4-year time here. We have been with some amazing teachers who have put forth more effort than I've ever expected from any educator. We first arrived to Pottstown with my son, who has an IEP and many struggles, entering Edgewood in the 3rd grade, but barely reading at 1st grade level. The Dibbles became something that haunted me in my dreams. The teachers, especially Mrs. Stout, took my son under her wings and pushed him to succeed in more ways than I ever thought was possible. After many meetings and conversations, my son made improvements I never thought were possible, like making it a full day in regular education classroom setting. Mrs. Stout never gave up on him. At the end of the school year, Edgewood closed because of his needs, he was best suited for Franklin, and my daughter was then sent to Lincoln. I have to say I was less than thrilled that my kids were being separated, but with my younger 2 starting in the district, I had faith that the teachers knew what was best. It was a rough and rocky start for my son, I won't lie. His struggles changed and he needed a strict routine to adapt to his day-to-day schedule. At the end of 4th grade, I once again began to worry what the following year would hold in the middle school. Once again, at the beginning of the school year, it was awful. The teachers acted fast and pushed to move for an emotional support environment for him. When he started in that class, I have to say I was thrilled. They focused on the child as a whole. They taught life skills, social skills, and overall how to adapt to their surroundings. In this school year, I was able to see the challenges here as a district as far as teachers were concerned. Within the first 2 months, Owen's teacher had informed us that she was leaving for a better opportunity in a different school district. The classroom would then see 3 to 4 additional teachers until the end of the year. To be honest, it felt like a revolving door for these students who, in my opinion, needed stability the most. In this moment, I began to take notice more for the teachers and what they brought to the tables as educators and how important they truly are to our children. I'll be honest, I often sat back and didn't get involved or support the teachers because I simply didn't understand how crucial of a role they are or how big a part they play in our children's lives. Now into our second year of middle school, the emotional support room they pushed so hard for my son to have no longer exists simply because they're unable to staff it. Good teachers are leaving and turning down this district because we offer nothing. Why would anybody want to work here? Teachers are not praised for their hard work, they're not recognized for their community involvement, and they're definitely not supported or paid properly. We as a district are making it impossible to keep the good teachers we have left. Let me ask you a question. Would you work somewhere for almost a decade without a raise? Cost of living increases, and even though this is a low-income area, taxes are high. We're making it impossible for teachers to afford to even work here. To me, that's crazy. Statistics show less and less people are enrolling in colleges to become teachers, which is not good for Pottstown. We don't offer competitive packages to entice any new teachers to come here, and with graduation rates falling for new teachers leaving colleges, we can't afford to keep losing the teachers to other districts who pay more and offer better opportunities. I do think that as a parent in this district, it's important to speak up and show my support for the teachers who are still here. I have seen these teachers on their own time show up to Little League games, clean our neighborhoods, partner with our local churches, and simply be present to support their students on their own time. It's now our time to show the support for them. I've given several of the teachers, which they've already started to read, letters from their students. Thank you letters. They'll read them one by one so the school board can hear firsthand how they've impacted the lives of their students. It's time we not only hear from the parents, but the children who are affected day by day by these individuals. Several parents also wrote letters of support that we'll also read. Please listen carefully because these teachers are making a difference.